Hey,
Hey Benny, how you doing?
good,
How you
brother.
doing?
Good.
Good, good. Yeah, hey guys, we just wanted to keep tonight short and simple. Alan, as you know, I had an event, Capitol Hill, over in the White House, doing some big things. We just wanted to kind of touch base on some of the things we're doing, behind the scenes. Plan to keep it maybe half hour or so. I got Gio helping me to co-host this, and I got a special guest, Becky Brown, our processor. She'll be joining us. She's here, but she'll be actually talking a little later as far as what she does for the company and some of the aspects of processing as well. So, as you all know, we're getting pretty busy. We're doing a lot of good things here at Sequoia. Um, Tonight's training is just to touch base on what we do behind the scenes. As you know, you guys bring in the business, and our job is to get out there and get the loans done, find the right lenders, and so forth. And we got a lot of questions from agents, especially the newer ones who ask us a lot, like what happens once they submit a deal or once a borrower submits something through their link. And so we'll go over the basic steps. Jill, you can jump in anytime you want, and we'll go ahead and start now. As you know, the link is set up pretty easy. Sequoia's platform is pretty simple. As an agent, you have your own link, your own website. It's structured so that it captures all the info that we need to be able to filter these deals as they come in the door. The first thing we do when a deal comes in, as you know, is to review it. We make sure that it's a good fit for Sequoia products. As you know, the platform has a lot of verticals, and so we want to make sure that what comes in are actually quality deals. The next step, as you know, is we review. We make sure that the person has the right credit score, right experience, whatever the loan product is. We want to make sure that it's a good fit again for the products. After that, as Alan mentions a whole lot, we have over 500 funders, different lenders. What we do is we make sure that the application matches the scenario so that we're not wasting anyone's time, that we're not setting the wrong application or the wrong scenario to a lender that can't do it, or that the borrower, him or herself, can't qualify. A lot of times we get leads that come in like a credit score of 490, 500, 520, and they're looking for 80% loan. That's not possible. It's just not going to happen. So we just want to make sure that everyone is fully aware of what's going on. And again, we don't want to waste our time, their time, or the lender's time. And so basically, we make sure once we get the right fit, once we identify a few funding sources for that particular lead, the next step is for us to actually put the offer together and present it to you guys, the agents or the borrower. At which point, once you guys select an option, we move forward and engage the lender and get a term sheet, which is signed, by the borrower. And the next step after that, as you guys know, is we contact you with a list of things that we'll need. I like to always ask agents, do they want to be hands on or hands off? Hands on would be us being the go between us and the borrower. So the client is the borrower, of course. Some agents prefer to be the go between. Some want to be in between, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. We'll relay all the information to you, the agent, and you go out and give that information to your client or to your borrower. Some agents prefer to just have us deal with everything. We just get the information. We talk to the borrower. We go through the whole process, and we basically interact with them directly, and they just collect a check once the deal closes. Which again, it all depends on you. I like to ask that question because some agents are very particular as how they want to proceed, and so again, that's something that we ask every single agent that comes through. Once we do that, the next step, of course, is to get to closing. And a lot of things happen before it gets to closing, and that's part of the processing. So I'll have Becky talk a little bit about that. But once the loan term is signed, the LOI is signed, and we move forward, a lot of things have to happen for us to get that loan done. And those of you who have dealt with loans before or understand the loan process know that's a lengthy, at times, complicated process because lenders will, underwriters request a list of things that seem to always be changing. A lot of times the borrower gets frustrated because they say, we had a borrower, and Becky will attest to that we gave them a list of things and they thought that was it. They thought, hey, I got a list of 10 things, this is it. And we asked them for a few more, and they were like frustrated, like, hey, you want more? What's the deal? Well, it's a process, right? And so it's an evolving process. It's not one that a lender could tell right away, I need 10 things. They may need 20 or 30, but ultimately what happens is every step along the way, there may be more information required. And that's where a lot of borrowers, someone get frustrated unless they get the right expectation. So we like to set the right expectation and let the borrowers know ahead of time that, look, this process doesn't have to be difficult, but it can be lengthy, and the underwriters will ask for certain things along the way. And hey, we can't control that. They have the money; it's their rules. And if the borrower wants the loan, they're gonna have to abide by what the lender wants. And so basically, that's it in a nutshell as far as what we do behind the scenes. Ultimately, it gets a little more in depth than that, but I'll let Becky again address some of those things. Becky's our processor, so wanted the team to meet her because ultimately you guys will be dealing with her a lot as well. And so I wanted to introduce her to Sequoia team and Sequoia family. And basically, she'll be able to introduce herself, talk a little bit about her background, and just kind of briefly touch upon some of the things that she's done in Sequoia so far. Becky, introducing you to the team. The floor is yours if you want to introduce yourself and tell people about you and what you do here at Sequoia.
Well, good evening, everybody. Georges, thanks for including me in this get together. So it's nice to be able to kind of put names and faces together. I have people who are popping in and out and everything, but and you may have seen my name on some emails. I've worked with a few of you all already. So and I've been in lending since a long time. We won't tell you how old I am, but a lot of it has been mortgage lending. And there's a significant similarity to what we're doing here today, which is just making sure that we're setting the right expectations, that we're communicating, and I'm following your lead as to what you would like to see happen on the file and keeping you in the loop. Even if you're a hands-off, I want to make sure that you're informed all along the way. And I think that, my background in business lending was back in the day, and it was agricultural lending and some, commercial lending and for accounts receivable, those types of things. And so kind of a broad spectrum of things that I've done in the past. So it's not brand new, but some of the products and the things that are being offered are a little different. And so I ask questions, and gives me an opportunity to build my book of knowledge, and hopefully that makes the process go even that much smoother. The gentleman that Georges was alluding to that was having some difficulty with this additional things that were being asked and how they were being asked, is he and I had a conversation yesterday, and he said, you know what? He goes, I just had in my mind, because he's done mortgage lending and residential lending for years, and working on as a realtor and everything. But he goes, I just had in my mind that you would just look at how much rental income came in, and then that would be all that the loan was based on. He goes, I just didn't ask the right questions. He goes, but I didn't even know what to ask. So, and he said, and I don't quite know, he goes, because I haven't worked with a broker relationship before. So we chatted a little bit. I said, we, your loan officers and brokers are looking for that best opportunity for you, and we just have that wide spectrum, and so each of those lenders get to customize what it is that they ask for. So hopefully through the education and helping him understand the process a little bit, just really does get down to that managing of expectations and understanding that it evolves, and his particular situation continues to evolve. And hopefully we'll get that one. It's coming all together, but there were questions that we had about it today. So, that's just part of figuring out how it's going to work and what makes the most sense and what's a good deal for them and for everybody involved. So.
Well, thank you. And that's the important part to understand. It's always evolving. These deals have multiple steps to them. And I think the biggest frustration that we encounter on our side is, for example, when we ask for things, for example, and Becky, you know this as well. We joked about this before, where we put a list of things together for the borrower, and we get everything but that. You know, we put a list of 10 things, and they give us 10 other things. And so, you know, we have to kind of get behind. You know, again, this is us behind the scenes working, because a lot of times, I say processing is somewhat of a thankless job, because people don't always see what goes into it. They see the end result, and ultimately the loan closes, and that's great. But it took so many things to get that loan closed. Sometimes we work after hours. We work. It's just, you know, we do whatever it takes to get the loan closed. And so the pretty part is, of course, the deal closing. The pretty part is the commission. Everything is great, but in between the time the borrower submits the application, there's a lot of things that go on, and we work hard here to take that off your plate. So as agents, we try to make sure that your job is easy. We try to take that the bulk of that hard part away, where you can just focus on sales, getting leads in the door, and not worrying too much about the processing side. Let us handle that. And I think that's the biggest thing, where we want to stress that we'll take that on. We'll do the placement, we'll do the processing, we'll handle everything, as long as you guys are able to bring the leads in and promote your site and promote your link. We'll be happy to take that on. Absolutely. Now, Gio, you want to step in? I know Gio works for a lender, and also, so again, Gio, if you want to add something to the behind the scenes part that I'm pretty sure you've encountered as well,
Uh,
you know.
yeah, absolutely, Georges. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. This whole process, like you said, it's a layer, right? You go into one, two, three, and there's all the things that you find out along the way. I guess it's important to repeat ourselves. You know, expectations is really, really important. I'm dealing myself with a group of people from Florida, and as soon as I send them the checklist, they're like, oh, this is too easy. Really? This is all we're going to provide? And I have to be like, no, that's not all this is just the preliminary checklist that you're going to have. There will be additional information that is going to be required along the way. I mean, this particular group wants to buy 10 properties in Baltimore all at once. Remember that conversation we were having,
Absolutely.
Georges?
Yeah.
So
I remember this
it is
morning.
important. Yeah, it's a lot of loose ends on a 10 deal bulk purchase. And, you know, they all want to have their 80 to 85% finance. They all want to have the 100%, you know, repair costs, you know, finance. But if they're not able to provide the information that we require on a timely manner, then everything's going to fall apart. That definitely falls into to our part, guys. So it is important to, you know, unfortunately, we just got to do a lot of follow up with paperwork. And sometimes, you know, those of us, I've been in the mortgage industry for 20 years. So those of us who are not used to calling somebody, hey, by the way, remember the email that was sent to you the day before yesterday? We haven't seen anything from you. You know, constantly you have to let them know that there's stuff items that are, you know, completely pending. I mean, we have contracts, we have dates in which we have to fulfill, we have milestones to complete, and sometimes it takes a longer time and we have to extend the contract, and there's going to be some, you know, consequences for us not to fulfill the part of the process. So I'm with you, Georges and Becky. I mean, it is tedious. It is long, you know. I mean, there's times that I call you at 12 a.m. Georges, and you're like, I'm still
Have a
awake.
conversation.
I'm working, and I'm like,
Yeah.
12 a.m. I mean, this guy's, see, everybody's sleeping and you're working. But you know,
Yeah, if you guys have seen email messages from me, I'm pretty sure late night, you know, 1, 2 in the morning, because that's what it takes. And again, I reiterate the commitment that we have to you guys as agents, because we're in the background. You know, we want to make sure that the deals get done. And so, because no one gets paid unless these deals close. And so ultimately there's a mission, right? We believe in missions, right? We don't look at it like, hey, we get paid by the hour, we don't get paid per day. It's basically we get paid when the deal closes. And for us, that's the end goal. The end game is closing the deal, and every deal is kind of a mini miracle, because you have the appraisal has to come out right. The borrower's credit has to be okay. The title company, the title work has to be fine. I mean, there's a number. The underwriting that has to be applied to the loan, and that has to make sense too. So then they pull a credit and background and we had a situation where, the person had a misdemeanor in 2020 something, but again, that's something that has to be explained. Got to get a letter of explanation. And hopefully these borrowers are responsive because as you know, we can only move as fast as the borrowers give us the information. And so it's sometimes it's like pulling teeth. And I will say that we've had some great borrowers who will give us information on the spot, and that's really great. And that makes the process a lot more efficient. And if you guys have these individuals, that's great, but not every individual is going to be the same. There might be a lot of hand-holding involved. And as Jill mentioned, if you're not used to this, and Becky mentioned this too, where if they're used to a certain thing or not, they don't totally understand what the process is like, then that's going to cause a lot of frustration. So we are here to just explain some of the process, some of the things that we do in the background that aren't always simple and fast, but that do require work. Like, there are times that we have to call the insurance company to get the insurance coverage done correctly. Title company may send over something that's not right. We have to call and correct that. The borrower may send something that, again, we were requesting, but is not what we wanted. And so, there's a lot of push and pull. But again, expectation wise, as Jill mentioned, we have to definitely let them know that it's a multi-layered process. And so if they're expecting to close quick, the average loan is about, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks, unless it's private money and hard money. That's a whole different story. On the private money side, those loans can go quickly, but they're expensive, and so they're short term. So there's a cost to that. But if they're looking for, a DSCR loan, it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks, and that's the expectation. We tell them. Sometimes we get it done quicker, and that's great because the borrowers are responsive. The lender's been exceptional in terms of getting us what we needed as well. But again, expectation-wise, it's really great to set that up so that they understand that, hey, this is not your first initial list will not be the only thing you need. There may be other things because as the loan moves forward, then there may be things that the lender is going to require, and that's going to be, what we asked them for. And if they give us that grace in terms of, hey, we're going to need other things, so don't expect this to just be the final list, and we'll be in a much better position to get these deals closed because frustration sets in if we don't set the right expectation.
Yeah, and I would want to chime in on that is that, as we're going through a process and we find something that makes it not workable as it stands, so it has to be reevaluated, there's a chance that the best option for the borrower is actually a new lender. And if that's the case, that lender is going to want those same documents that they feel like that they've already signed. And I think that was one of the bigger concerns that the gentleman that we've been referencing is that I just signed one of these. Well, yeah, but that was for a different lender, a different program, and we found something that's going to work under the circumstances that have kind of surfaced. And I think, managing those expectations or understanding that that's one of the huge benefits that you guys get to offer borrowers is that there is this deck of lenders that are available. If one of them says no, then maybe we have some other options for them. And I think that, that was a real nice thing to see. But primarily I've worked for, lenders that might broker things out, but they didn't really have the full complement that, that we have here at Sequoia. So, so I think that was it. And,
Absolutely.
as a tiny footnote, because that's how I work with little notes in my head. So one of the things that surfaced on this particular loan that was a surprise, and I think that people are going to be more and more surprised or caught unaware about it, is that student loans are now major things that if they weren't paying them and thought that they were going to go away or into deferral, those are reflecting as major ticket items. So if those come up in discussions as you're talking to people, just, if they haven't pulled their own credit, they can do that so they can see where they stand before they go down a path. So anyways.
Right. There's a link, and thank you. There's a
Mhm.
link that actually we can send that allows you to pull your own credit.
Mhm.
It's $1. It's a free trial, 7 days. You can pull. It's a tri-merge, which is what most lenders use. They use the middle score from the three bureaus, the main ones. And so if you have a borrower who's questioning their credit or don't know where they are, we can provide the link to you guys. So just if you want to email me privately, I'll send the link to you. It's $1. Just make sure that they understand they have to cancel. Otherwise, they'll be charged 29, I believe, dollars per month. But it does give them a full picture as to where they are with everything, and they can see ahead of time the things they may need to work on or have to work on.
Excellent. And could you tell if it's a soft pull or a hard pull?
It's because it's a self pull. It's not going to be a hard pull. So
Right.
any self pull is going to be it's not going to count against them.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's basically what we need, right? Just the score
Correct. The
from the
score is
bureau.
correct. Now, lenders will pull their own credit scores. Typically, we Sequoia, we don't have the facility to pull credit, so the lenders pull credit. But again, that link that we can send, and actually, there's annual free. I think there's another site too that gives you
Right.
free credit report, one per year. That you can definitely do that. So that's basically it. That as far as credit is concerned, definitely some we can definitely help. And there's also a credit repair specialist on board. Alan could introduce to you guys. And I think there's on the site, there's also a place for credit repair. So again, in the quest to offer solutions to people, if for example, if the score, 500s, they're not going to qualify for the DSCR loan, but they can see where they are, and the credit repair specialist can help them get to the point where they can qualify. So, those are some of the things that we offer as well. Again, Sequoia being a solutions-oriented company, we definitely want to make sure that even those with questionable credit or bad credit or whatever the case is, we can help them because we can give an avenue to improve on their credit to get them to a position where they can actually get a loan. And some lenders are not credit score driven, so even in those cases, we can approve deals. The issue is that the LTV will be a bit lower. Like in some cases, we can do 50, 60% all day long, any credit score. But the problem is, again, it's only 60% loan to value. Now, if you want a 75, 80%, you're looking at, 680 or higher and trade lines, because then something else that comes up a lot,
Oh, yeah.
people sometimes give us they have a great score, right? This gentleman, for example, last month had a like a 790 or a 795 credit score, but he only had one trade line. And so the issue there, and the trade line was not, it was like maybe less than a year old. And so that the lender declined that loan because it's called a thin file where the score is great, but as far as credit history, there's really virtually none, only one trade line. So he's been paying that trade line on time, which upped his score, but it wasn't enough for the lender. And he was baffled. I got a great credit score. I don't get this, but I don't understand why my score is so great and I'm being declined, and I pay my bills on time, but and he uses cash a lot. So the other issue was that he didn't establish credit. And so these are things that sometimes people, and again, with the credit repair specialist, he'll be able to help people get that credit or get those credit lines, those trade lines. But the biggest thing again is that we offer solutions even in those cases. So again, just want everybody to understand that part. So if you're talking to someone, no matter what the score, we can help them either through credit repair or through a program that they may not need a high LTV. I'll give you a good example. Sometimes somebody may own a property free and clear. They only need 50% loan to value. Well, at that point, we have lenders that can do that on a bridge basis, 50% LTV, cash out. Doesn't matter what the score is because they're looking at the asset primarily, not the score. And in those cases there, the credit score is not a big thing. But if they want to now get into a long-term DSCR loan, that's going to be a problem. So they've got to make sure that they look at their score and their profile to make sure they can get to a point where they can qualify.
Can you tell us if the alternative trade lines could, in this particular case you were talking about, the one trade line, can we add you know, would those persons add up, alternative trade line, utility bills and stuff like that? Would that have
Yeah, I
worked?
think the lender was actually saying that hey, right now, if you have like a utility bill, for example, right, or something like that, utility bill, I think they mentioned some kind of consumer trade line that they can access that would help out. Unfortunately, this gentleman didn't have that, so I can't tell you if we can succeed with that or not. But the lender was generous enough to offer that up and say, hey, that can help. Also, rental history, if he rented somewhere and they had proof of rent, that could also qualify as a trade line. It may not show up on the credit report per se, but at least the lender has some kind of history as far as how this gentleman pays. And so, to answer your question, I based on that lender's response, it seems that we can. But I would ask the more first does the credit repair or credit specialist, how to add those lines to the report if possible.
That sounds
Let me
good.
see.
We're almost top of the hour. Any
I
Q&As
know.
you want to do?
Yeah, anybody have any questions? And forgive me, guys. This first time running the meeting. I'm not a technically savvy person, so I'm running this for the first time. So
You don't have to be technically savvy when you're a rock star, brother. Let me tell you, the astounding team in the background, Becky and George's a true brother and sister, caring deeply about relationships and people and all the odds and everything in between the economy and everything else that's rocking and doing all kinds of wacky stuff, moving sideways. It's a remarkable thing that you can get the kind of things done efficiently and effectively because you care about people and care about what's going to happen and even taking care of a client or a borrower, as we call them, in a way where if it isn't working for them, we're going to let them know that too. You guys are it is no possibility of anything but this one clear statement. You're the epitome of the profession in such a way that you deserve to be accolade after accolade every single day, seriously. So thank you sincerely for all you do behind the scenes and making it possible for us to understand our role better as well. Appreciate it.
Hallelujah.
Lou, you're my favorite.
It's all
I'm
about
on the
family.
call just for Lou.
What you
Well,
guys
thank
know
you
is
so much, Becky. Thank you,
I pay
Becky.
good money for this, so But
Thank
nah, Lou's I call him a brother from another mother. We joke around a lot, and Lou can attest to the fact that we've had the behind the scenes scenarios with the last deal we did, right, where there was a lot of a lot of paperwork, a lot of documentation, a lot of and so some degree of miscommunication with the lender. But again, our job is to set that right, as and Lou did a great job with that as far as expectation and bringing it back home where because it got one little left, and then but Lou, you brought it back home like a true superstar does.
that's why teamwork makes the dream work, man. If you go out on any professional baseball, football, boxing, whatever, nothing's perfect. Your wins and losses. Sometimes the losses are actually the best gain that you can have because you learn something valuable that helps you to accelerate what you're going to do for the next 10 clients, the next 10 borrowers. But again, I couldn't be more proud of my relationship. And again, truly, brother from a different mother for sure. And Becky, thank you so much for everything you do. And it's a pleasure to meet you, albeit over the Zoom. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here tonight and being able to really break this down and help us to all understand better about not only what it is that you guys do behind the scenes, which is enormous. Imagine people spending time where somebody's going to be up with a family, by the way, at 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, for brother Franco. It's like, oh, dude, but that's what commitment and dedication. In addition to being a New York Italian boy and a Marine Corps combat veteran, I have no patience for nonsense, but I have every patience for mission and can do. No quit. No is not an answer. And you guys went way beyond that to be able to help to facilitate things, and we can bring them home properly. It takes time and it takes patience and it takes due diligence and commitment and dedication, discipline, and all that you all have together. So again, thank you sincerely for everything you do. I really appreciate it. It's an honor to be on here with you tonight. Thank you.
Lou, thank you so much, Lou. Appreciate that.
Somebody
I'll call
posted a
you.
question in the chat box. I don't know if you saw that, Jordan's.
Let me see. I do apologize, guys, once again. Let me see. I have to.
Give you a technology quiz.
Yeah, I did see something flash across the asking for income documents and if that's required. And whoever, I apologize. I don't recall who posted that question, but No, typically we do not require income documents. Usually, I mean, unless you're doing something like maybe an SBA or something like that. But as far as the DSCR loans and the type of bridge loans that we do, our lenders typically do not require income docs. On the DSCR side, the main drivers are the rental income, the taxes, insurance, and the debt service coverage, which is basically that's all contingent upon what that property leased for and what the expenses are. They don't ask for tax returns. Now, they do ask for bank statements, and they want to make sure that there are enough reserves to first, well, enough cash basically to close the deal, number one, but also to carry the deal in the event there's something to like a tenant is another question about fix and flip. But if a tenant cannot pay, or there's a tenant leaves and they got to rent it out, they want to make sure there's enough cash reserves in hand to be able to make payments. But there's not a financial contingency as far as you have to make a certain amount annually, or they don't want to check. They don't typically not checking your income tax returns. On the fix and flip side, we do offer fix and flip loans all the way to 100% of purchase, 100% renovation. It depends on the experience and the credit score. To qualify for that program, you need a 680 plus credit score, 4+ projects in the past 5 years. But generally speaking, if you've got a good amount of experience, you can qualify between usually 85, I would say 85% of the purchase price and 100% renovation. Some lenders are not offering 90%. The market's stirring up. Lenders are getting more aggressive these days, and so we do have options. Just if you have a fix and flip scenario, and I tell people this, even if you don't have a live contract, but just want to know what the parameters would be or how much we need to bring to the table, send us the purchase price, the purchase price, the rehab budget, and after repair value, the person's credit score and experience, and we'll be able to kind of quote out on a general basis what kind of terms we could offer on that. The dollar soft credit pool. This is there's a link that we can send, and if you want to send me an email to my email is loans@seqlending.com. That's loans plural at seqlending.com. I'll be happy to send that link to you. It's a trial basis link, so it's a link that allows you to pull your credit. You'll get all 3 scores, all 3 bureaus, and it's going to cost you $1. Now, if you don't cancel that within 7 days, what's going to happen is auto bill you for $29 per month afterwards. And so if you want to maintain it, that's fine. I mean, some people keep it because they can see the credit every month. They get to see where things are, and that's fine. However, if you don't want to, then the best thing to do is once you pull your credit, download it in the PDF format, and then you just cancel the subscription, and basically you'll have your score. There's also another one, annual, and I get annual free
Annual
credit score.
credit report. Yeah.
Yeah,
Annual
annual credit
report.
report. Right.
Yeah.
You can go there, and once a year you're entitled to your credit report, so you can do that as
Right.
well. And so that's for free. So it doesn't cost you a thing.
Right.
So if you want to do that, again, we can submit. If you have any questions or want the link, please email me, and I'll be able to send that over to you guys. Both options.
Somebody also asked you to touch on the equity share program.
Not really equity share.
It says,
I'm
can you
not
touch
familiar
on
with
the
that.
equity share program that came from C&D Holdings?
I'll defer to Alan on that one. I'm not familiar with that program.
Okay. And then there was a question earlier, as far as the income question, but the second part of that was, are appraisals required for purchases?
Most times, yes. Now, there's an exception. Sometimes on the private money or hard money side, if the lender knows the area really well, they may not require an appraisal. We have a lender now that actually will, for a little bit lower LTV, if you got enough experience, they'll lend up to 80 to 85% of the purchase price and 85% of the renovation. They don't require an appraisal, but what they'll do is they'll actually pull comps from their office, and you provide them with the rehab budget, and you take pictures of the property. But again, it's 85% on both sides, 85 of purchase, 85 of renovation. So most lenders on the rehab side, rehab lenders will give you 100% of rehab budget. And that's pretty, a lot of bars rather are used to that ratio. but there is one, so if you want to basically qualify for that, you have to have, I believe, for that one, you have to have 3 or 4 projects in the past 3 years, not 5, 3 years. And the credit score, I think, is 650 or higher. But if you have that, then that lender will actually, and the good thing with that lender, they can close quickly because no appraisal means a quicker close. So again, they can close. I've seen them close in about 3 to 5 days if title's ready, because all they're doing is pulling their own comps. And if the comps are solid, if they're solid comps and they can come to the conclusion that this is the value, then they're fine with it. If there's questions, they may require an appraisal. But to answer your question, usually an appraisal is required on a purchase, typically.
How is the draw process for renovations in escrow? That's
When the loan
from-
closes,
oh, yeah.
when the loan closes, they'll hold that money in escrow. Say, for example, the cost is $60K to renovate a property. That money is held in escrow at closing. And so it's given out in draws as the work is done. So basically, let's just say you complete 5,000 worth of work. You call us or call the lender and say, look, I completed 5K worth of work. They'll send an inspector out to confirm that. And then once they confirm that, they'll go ahead and wire the money to you, which is the 5K. So it works in arrears. It's a reimbursement program. It's not given in advance. And the reason for that is people don't behave sometimes with money in advance. So if, for example, if 60K was a number and the lender gave this borrower 60K, there's no guarantee that work would be done or be done correctly. But given this in draws, it controls the process more. So the lender is able to actually monitor the progress and put the onus on that borrower to get the work done correctly. So that if that work is not done correctly, then they don't get the rehab draw. But if they do it what they're supposed to do, then they'll get that rehab draw. And a lot of lenders now are switching to a format where it's the inspector doesn't even have to go out. They'll actually take pictures. They'll download an app on their phone, and the app guides them as far as what to do as far as pictures. So, but the draw process is pretty straightforward. The bottom line is once you complete a particular set of jobs and you want that set sum of money, you just call the lender. They'll go out to make sure you've done it right, and they'll release that money to you in that draw.
That was the last question.
Okay, perfect. Becky, Gio, Lou, anyone, anything to add? And if not, we'll close now. But if guys got anything you wanted to say as final words?
I definitely can attest that the commercial lending, it's a industry that is kind of growing. People are kind of becoming aware of the possibilities of making a lot of money. So we just got to be aware that Sequoia Enterprise Solutions is one of the best local small minority owner company, and I believe we have a lot of elite products that we can service our community. We just got to really give our best and try to bring a deal a month. That's not a lot, right? So we got to get it done. So thank you so
Absolutely.
much for your excellent presentation. Thank you, Becky, and I appreciate everything you guys do for us.
You're very
Appreciate it,
welcome.
Gio.
I
Appreciate
look
you.
at it that I'm serving you guys, so, ask me questions if I'm not clear in my email in any way, shape, or form, or your client is asking you questions and you want some clarity, don't hesitate to let me know. I'm happy to clarify and to make sure that we're all on the same page so that client comes back to you again and again and again. So that's what we can offer them. So
Absolutely. And then guys, if you have any topics you want us to cover in the future, please feel free to reach out to us, Alan, myself, Gio, Becky. Please let us know if there's something that you want to talk about or something we haven't covered. Definitely, please. We want to make this interactive. We want to make sure that we're covering the things that you guys want to hear about. A lot of times we pick the topics on this end, but again, if there's something that you want us to elaborate on or talk about or dedicate an evening to, please let us know. All right, and with that being said, if there are no further questions, definitely thank everyone for attending. We look forward to working with you. And again, please email me if you have any other issues or concerns regarding the loan process and everything else. And thank you guys, Becky, Gio, everyone. Thank you. Have a good evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Georges. Thank
bye.
you. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah.